Hello and welcome to the Good Podcast. This is episode 1 with Kamil Henri.
And Adrienne. Hi.
Hi. So today we're going to be talking about the gigs, the concerts that we've both been at together. I myself am more or less of a concert veteran. I've been to gigs about 60, but together we've probably been to maybe 25, 30 together.
In just like 1 year and a half,
Yeah.
2 years,
So there's a lot of things to go over and
talk about
yeah.
and
So
review.
we figured we'd just kind of just go over the list one gig at a time and just kind of rate and give our thoughts on the artist's performance and just how the gig went.
And how we felt about that.
Yeah.
How we felt about the gig and the whatever.
Yeah, maybe give a little bit of a background to the artists or bands that we saw. Maybe a few thoughts here and there on what we think of their music. Maybe some personal background to the
the
gig,
event.
to the event, how we got there. Maybe. Yeah.
So let's get started.
All right. Beginning for me, my 33rd concert was my first concert with Adrienne here.
Yeah.
And this was the Jungle gig in Bristol at the O2 Academy. This was May 9th, 2018. So Jungle was the headliner, and the openers were Tom Tripp and Ray Morris. To begin, Jungle is a UK-based band. They make some sort of fusion of funk and pop and indie rock.
Electronic as well.
Yeah, it's a mix of a lot of different things, and it's generally pretty accessible music, but it's they've got a very distinct style, I would say. Especially with time, they've experimented more and they've kind of fallen more into their own. But overall, a really interesting band that I discovered a few years back, and just kind of got more into them after seeing them live. So, yeah, what did you think of your first gig with me?
Well, I didn't really knew that band at all. I kind of discovered them when I went to that gig with you. Overall, from what I remember, it was a really nice gig. The atmosphere was really, really nice. Sometimes going to a gig is like a bit oppressing and I'm not gonna say violent, but a bit brutal, and I don't like that. But to this one, it was really, really nice overall. People were really into it. You could feel that there were a lot of not communication.
Everybody was more or less in sync with their feelings towards the show. Everybody was very
and there
very
was
positive.
You could feel there was like a connection with the band and the public.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like that concert. The opener, I don't really remember. Tom Tripp. I think he was interesting. That was really nice. He was good at what he was doing. And Ray Morris, I can't say that I really liked what she was doing. She was good at it, but it's not my
Cup
of tea.
Yeah. They were good openers, but they weren't they didn't necessarily grab our attention. I mean, I did search them up afterwards to find out more about them, but I wasn't dying to hear more from them. It just kind of it was good for passing the time until the headliners came, but I've certainly had more memorable openers before and after that. But I mean, you never know. This seemed to be quite new at what they're doing potentially. Like, maybe they only had a couple years experience, so
Mm, maybe.
potentially later it might be
Yeah.
more enticing.
So, jungle.
Yeah, I mean, overall it was a very I wouldn't say it's like one of my all-time favorite gigs. Not that I was going in expecting that, but it was like I was very satisfied. I left the gig very satisfied, especially, they only had one album at the time.
Mm,
They have since released their sophomore album. And so it was really good to kind of they only had so much material, so they played nearly every song, and they had still enough time to play some new songs that hadn't been released yet, some singles from their upcoming album. And that was certainly a treat to hear some unreleased
mm-hmm.
material. And they're a very big band. They're a large group, and sometimes when you've got a group that large, it can feel a little bit crowded and a
But
little bit of a lack of communication.
yeah,
But
but it was not. It was like very organized. There was like everyone out there on a little
yeah,
place.
everyone had a role to play.
Yeah.
But I think it was certainly the lead singer. His name escapes me, but the lead singer was probably
Mm,
he was a front man. He was he was making particular faces when he was singing, which was very
don't remember that.
he because he has quite a high range. He's typically in falsetto, so his voice was kind of you could tell that he was kind of like stretching his chords in a way,
Mhm.
and it was all overall a good performance.
Next gig, it was actually not just a gig, it was a festival, Lovebok Festival in London. We went there with,
With a couple of friends of ours,
yeah.
and it was a 2-day festival. It was so this was Lovebox 2018. So
Mm-hmm.
it was over 2 days, which was July 13th and July 14th. The first day we had Mabel, SZA, Anderson .Paak, and the Free Nationals. The Wu-Tang Clan
Oh,
celebrating 25 years of Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, their debut album. We saw Vince Staples and briefly Skepta. Just towards the end, he was the headliner of the first day, so we at that point we were kind of tired, so
mm.
we didn't really stick around too long. The first day, Mabel, we weren't really
We,
aware of.
yeah, we didn't really knew anything about it. It was just she was there, and then we watched. But that's it. That's not really my kind of music. I'm not
Yeah,
really into that.
it was UK teen pop. You know, it seemed like very much in the vein of like Spice Girls and Little Mix, things like that. Just kind of like
Couldn't tell.
it's
I have
meant
no
for
idea.
a young
Mm.
majority female audience.
Yeah, you
We
could
don't
see
really
that
fit the bill for that.
many of the crowd, comment on dit, beaucoup de la foule.
A majority of the crowd
Yeah,
were young teenage, mostly girls.
Yeah, and they were like really happy to see her.
Yeah,
So
she seems to be quite high profile
yeah,
in that area, but she had a good performance.
I can't really remember.
I mean,
It was, don't know.
she was good for what
Yeah,
she was doing,
yeah.
and we were just waiting for the next acts really. But yeah, no complaints from her end.
Mm-mm.
Um, we had SZA.
For like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we're not entirely sure what happened, but
She was like really late,
yeah,
and she came on stage wearing like fluffy winter pajamas when it was like 40s outside.
it looked
That
cool,
was
but it
so
must have been
weird.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. We can't say much about her because she was so late that she had to stop after 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think she played 2 or 3 songs.
Mm,
which is a shame because I was actually really looking forward to SZA. She wasn't one of my. I wasn't looking forward to her more than a lot of other uh, uh, um,
performer.
performers, but she was certainly someone that I was excited to see. And
Yeah, I remember you were talking about her and you were telling me that you wanted to see her, but yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
certainly after having
didn't
such
happen.
a strong debut album not long before, like I was
Mm.
excited to see that. But yeah, so she eventually she was explaining how they were telling her to cut her set short, seeing as she was late. Whether that be technical difficulties or her own fault, we don't know.
No idea.
But
Anyway, yeah.
she claimed that it was the fault of the venue. She was saying they're trying to cut me short, and then so she started playing another song, and then they cut
They
her
cut
off,
her. Yeah, because
and they
it
told her
was.
to leave.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were very unhappy about
Yeah,
that.
but she's late.
If she's late, then the entire rest of the show is going to be late. Every act after her will be late. So I understand if this is her fault, then she's got to end early.
We
But
will never know.
yeah, hopefully I'll get to see her another time
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
I'm not satisfied with that performance. But I mean, what she did play was good.
Yeah.
It was very simple. It was more or less just her with the instrumental, but she's a great singer, so no problem there.
Then
Anderson Paak and his band, the Free Nationals.
I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
They were really good at what they were doing. Uh, I would say they were good performers.
they were probably the highlight of the day, if not one of the big highlights of the entire
Yeah.
festival in general. Like, which I was
They were,
expecting,
like-
but they were giving their all. I mean, especially Anderson Paak himself. He is a producer, he is a drummer, he is a singer, a rapper, and he certainly did not hesitate to show his capabilities all at once.
Mm-mm.
Often opting to handle the percussion while also handling the vocals, which I can understand is very difficult to do both at once, but he was killing it.
Yeah.
And his
And
band is incredible as well.
He was wearing, if I remember well, he was wearing quite an unusual pair of trousers.
No, that was Steve Lacy actually. He
That
was
was
wearing
him?
particular. I think he was wearing like an outfit that was all like green, like with dollar signs.
Oh, no, 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 I'm
Was that?
talking about the trousers. Like,
That was Steve Lacy the next day.
you sure?
Yeah,
Oh.
I know what you're talking about. No, Anderson was dressed in like bandana and a shirt that was all themed with the same pattern.
I learned it.
And at the
At
end
the
of the
end.
set, he threw his drumsticks into the crowd, and I caught the second one, so I still have this
Since you're like 9 feet tall and you were
at
surrounded.
the front of
Yeah,
the
that's-
stage. Yeah, I was really right in the. I mean, everything was going for me
And
for
you're like
catching it.
twice as tall as everyone else around
Yeah.
you, so of course you're gonna grab it.
So it wasn't very difficult to catch as long as it was in my direction. But I'm glad I was able to keep that piece of memorabilia from the set. Because
Yeah.
I am quite a fan of Anderson Paak. He's got a very consistent discography. He's just overall a great artist and handles a lot of things. Yeah, the Wu-Tang Clan. So this was their celebration, 25-year celebration of their debut album, and the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
I was so happy to see them live.
Yeah.
Like really, really happy.
Well, they're legendary. They're
Yeah.
Rarely do we see hip hop groups that have this notoriety in the industry, and
Yeah.
especially seeing every single member except for Old Dirty Bastard, of course. We had the RZA, Jizza, Ghostface Killah, Inspector Deck, Capadonna, Method Man, You God,
Raekwon,
and Master Killa. They were all there, and it was just banger after banger after banger. They did play mostly songs off of the first album, but they did play some others from different albums as well as some of their individual solo songs, such as they played an homage to ODB playing his classic Shimmy Shimmy Ya. With them being a large group, once again, they were able to really take turns and not really run out of energy and be really consistent with their momentum. Um, and it made for a very, very memorable performance. Um, one thing is just that their visuals, I remember, were quite
Oh, I
dated.
forgot about that. Yeah, the visual.
The visuals
Yeah,
definitely
that was something.
seem like they had been using the same ones for 15
It's
years.
alright. It doesn't matter.
You know, the what's important is the performance.
And the performance was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was so happy, like seeing them live after listening to their music for years. I was like, yeah, I was really happy.
The RZA, his production is something that we're a fan
Yeah.
of. So, yeah, more than anything, I mean, yeah, obviously, each member has their own talents and
Their own personality, but all together they form this amazing group of people.
so this was all at the main stage.
Yeah.
So at one of the secondary stages, we had Vince Staples, who I was very
Yeah.
much looking forward to.
The crowd was really maybe because it was like the end of the evening during the night, but they were
a bit rowdy.
a bit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as she was talking about before, like about positive atmospheres and it getting a bit too far. I mean, I personally didn't have that much of a problem with it. I was expecting it. I know Vince Staples has some very aggressive and loud music sometimes, but
Yeah,
the crowd was like in full mosh. It was a small stage, yet
yeah. That's not that I don't like that. I just it's not bad or anything. That just
it was unexpected at the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
We didn't we didn't expect it to go that far that quickly.
Yeah, it was just like a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, because we just kind of we tried to go into the crowd really quickly because we mostly just wanted to see Vince Staples, so we just kind of stuck in there. But
It just happened.
yeah,
As
soon as he came out, like it was everybody.
It just went crazy.
Yeah, so I think if we had mentally prepared ourselves a bit better, then it probably would have been less overwhelming. Because yeah, at the time, like we didn't expect to be in full mosh, and like I dropped my glasses, and for those of you who know, I do wear glasses. I need glasses. And so, you know, losing glasses would have made it so that I couldn't enjoy the rest of the festival. But fortunately, before everybody started stepping everywhere, Adrienne picked them up.
Just before the mosh.
Just before the mosh happened. Because basically what happened is that everybody was forming the mosh pit. And we happened to be right in the middle. So, yeah, and one person nudged me. It was fun once we got our bearings. Yeah. Vince Staples, like we made it mostly to the front pretty quickly, and I've seen Vince Staples I think 4 times now, and he's just consistently an incredible performer. He knows how to antagonize the crowd. He's very charismatic. He's got a very deadpan humor.
Direct contact with the crowd.
Oh yeah.
It's not like he's on stage and the crowd is there. It's like
yeah.
So really something.
He's acknowledging us.
Yeah.
And his visuals were some of the best visuals I've seen at a gig. Honestly, like he had very specific visuals for his set that included a sort of emulation of small screens all kind of overlapped with each other.
I remember. Yeah, that was really imaginative.
Yeah, it was a creative idea. Like each screen had a different piece of footage that would typically loop, and they would just kind of like it'd kind of switch between channels. But he would have footage of for example, like some world star hip hop like fights, some of it being news reports, some being music video footage, interviews, like just various things that really amounted to it really made sense in the context of what kind of music he was delivering, you know, with social commentary. Yeah, just overall a really great performance, great visuals, a great mix between his various projects, especially a lot from his previous album, Big Fish Fury. Very danceable music, very jumpable music.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, always great performance from Vince. Yeah, we briefly saw Skepta. We just kind of tuned in to see some of our favorite songs. I specifically wanted to see some of his songs from Konnichiwa, but we aren't the biggest fans of Skepta, and we were very tired. It was the end of the night.
I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, we just kind of watched as we were wandering away. I think if I had a chance to see him again, I would. But
Not in a festival after, like,
yeah,
after everyone else. No.
yeah, we were quite drained.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I caught a little bit of Diplo at some point as well, but like not enough. I remember his visuals being quite eye-catching, and Diplo makes very movable music as well. He's always about the bangers. I caught the Blaze at some point in a smaller stage while I was we all kind of split off at some point, grabbing food and stuff, and I caught the Blaze briefly. I did not know who they were before, but I was very intrigued by their music, and it was the two of them. They are two producers, um, and it was more or less like a DJ set for their own music, um, and yeah, it definitely turned me on to them. Like I was definitely very intrigued. Um, some great music, some sort of EDM, some house elements. Um, yeah, would be a group I might see again in the future. Um, so now Saturday, the next
Next
day,
day, we saw Caliuchis.
and we had Big Boy of Outcast fame. We had the Internet,
Mm-hmm.
Pharrell's NERD. We had Annie Mac, Muramasa, Bonobo, and Childish
Childish
Gambino.
Gambino.
We didn't catch all of the acts because we kind of had to prioritize certain acts over others. So
Yeah.
a few of them we only saw snippets of, but Kali Uchis.
We saw the full act. It was a really good performance. She's really, really good at what she's doing. She was wearing an uncomfortable dress and she was pulling it like every 2 minutes.
Yeah, she was having a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
Her dress was very uncomfortable. She was getting very sweaty because it was hot, so it was just constantly
And the
slipping.
shoes.
Her shoes, her high heels were very uncomfortable. You could tell she just really wanted to throw
And
them
she
off.
Oh, it was so hot and she was sweating.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
Yeah, she really wasn't wearing the right dress to be performing in this type of
Honestly, I
heat.
would have taken my shoes off.
Yeah,
Like, okay, I don't care. And just
yeah, but instead she
yeah.
opted to power through it.
Yeah. Anyway,
It didn't seem to impact her performance.
no,
Her singing was still
no,
great.
no, yeah.
But I mean, she probably could have done even better if she had been more comfortable. But I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
she was really good.
yeah, yeah. For those who don't know, she's a Colombian singer, and she released her debut album that same year, last year, Isolation. And on this album, she had a couple features that she brought up on stage to perform the songs with her. For example, Georgia Smith. She brought up on the stage to perform their song off of her album together, and that was a nice, a pleasant surprise. I'm not a massive fan of Georgia Smith, but she is a very good singer. She's got her own discography, and overall together they've got some pretty good chemistry. I was more excited about the Steve Lacy feature that she brought up on stage. Steve Lacy being of the band The Internet, who played later on that day. Um, so Steve Lacy was actually the one who had the very particular trousers. Um, he had some plaid trousers that seemed like maybe they were homemade or something.
Yeah, it was like further made of different fabrics.
Yeah,
But it was, yeah.
he was
nice
rocking
flavors.
it.
Yeah, yeah, completely.
So yeah, props to that. But I mean, yeah, he's also just a great singer. He's a great guitar player.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think he's still developing his singing voice. I mean, generally, and whether it be his studio or his performance, he's not he's still in the process of developing it. He's still young and he's still new into the industry, but he holds his own. He certainly does, and he's got a lot of style. I mean, as we said, his aesthetics visually and what he dresses and what he picks for his music videos and album art is very particular. Um, yeah, it fits in with the vibes of the music he's making. Um,
We're talking about Kelly Uchis.
yeah. Kali Uchis has a bit of a low voice. I mean, kind of like Amy Winehouse. I think she has a very similar register to and delivery to Amy Winehouse. I
Yeah,
would think.
this very powerful voice, and I really like that she knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
She's good.
and she has a good mix between because her native language being Spanish, she does mostly English music, but occasionally she's done some Spanish, which is really cool to see live as well. Uh, yeah, just to have a bilingual artist. As we were talking about Steve Lacy, we had the internet later on in the day.
I didn't know them. I discovered them and their music. I discovered that day. Didn't know them at all.
Well, they are a band from LA, previously of Odd Future fame, and they used to be a duo of just Sid the singer and Matt the handles the production. But now, more recently, they formed a band, and seeing that in a live setting is makes a lot more sense than having a duo because having each person handle their own instrument and their own aspect of the music, it really allows them each to shine in their own element. Especially Sid being the front woman and the lead singer. Um, she really she really is it's very intimate. It feels very intimate, her performance. The crowd was clearly a big fan of them even before they had come on. I think there was more crowd feedback for them than most other performers that day.
Yeah.
Which definitely worked in their favor, and it's totally warranted. They've got excellent music, so yeah, great to see them at that point in their career, especially because they've just gotten better over the years. Later on, we had Big Boy of Outkast fame, was Atlanta duo with Andre 3000. Um, but his solo career is often overlooked. He's got a few solo albums under his belt, and it also reflects on the audience because it seemed like people didn't care all that much about who he was, which is unfortunate because he is definitely he holds his own when he's separate from Andre as well, and he's a great performer. Um, he's got a lot of great bangers and. He even played some hits from his Outcast time. Um, playing some old '90s songs and some early 2000s songs, and as well as many of his solo material. He was accompanied by DJ Cut Master Swift. He even brought on Sleepy Brown for a lot of the set to sing. Him having worked with Sleepy Brown for the better half of 2 decades. Yeah, the visuals are very interesting. Yeah, he had some weird picks every now and then, but yeah, overall it was a great performance, and I definitely felt like people weren't really excited about him in the way I was, which I mean made it feel a little like it made the crowd a little smaller and easy to get by, but yeah, he deserves more credit.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. We had NERD. So NERD is Pharrell Williams' band, with his fellow producer of the Neptunes, Chad, and as well as Shay.
But Farrell was not there.
Huh?
Farrell was not there.
Pharrell was not there.
He was not.
Pharrell was there.
Was he? He was not.
What?
He was not there.
Pharrell was there.
He was not.
What are you on about?
Was he?
Pharrell was there.
No, he was not.
Pharrell was there.
He was not.
Do you not recall seeing Pharrell?
I don't recall that.
There are only three of them, and Pharrell is the
He was
frontman.
not.
Why would they perform without Pharrell?
I don't know. I forgot.
It makes no sense.
Oh, maybe he does not. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
Pharrell
okay.
was there, and I mean, he was so very much there that he even played on many songs that were not NERD songs. A sort of mix of many hits he's produced or performed on over the years, whether it be in his solo discography, or in collaboration or on features on other people's music. Um, yeah, he went over many of them, including Clips's hit "Grindin'." He performed a bit of "Happy," a few Snoop Dogg hits.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
You don't remember this?
Okay, maybe I was not there.
Maybe you were at the bathroom, or maybe you
There
were
was no
sitting.
bathroom.
I don't know. Maybe you passed out on the floor. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, we were sitting down at that point. I think at that point we were kind of regaining our energy, and we kind of sat back. So maybe you were kind of distracted, but I recall precisely seeing NERD and Pharrell. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, of course, he played many. Well, they played all three of them. They played many NERD hits. Them having been around for a long time. And they had just released a new album, so they played many songs from that. They've got a great fusion of indie rock and of course hip hop, and it makes for a very interesting combination. And live, it almost feels like a rock concert a lot of the time, dabbling in hip hop. It's a great performance. They're very good with the crowd. They're always acknowledging the crowd, getting them pumped up. I mean, they've been doing it, especially Pharrell. They've been doing this for a long time, so they know what they're doing. Um, Pharrell's just as youthful as ever. You know,
If you say so.
I mean, his age certainly does not show. Later on, we caught Muramasa. He is a producer who makes, I guess, EDM infused with a bit of hip hop and a little bit of experimental, kind of noisy and heavy music, but yet still kind of keeping to a pop um, sort of atmosphere. Um, yeah, I don't know. He had a lot of great songs to play from his album. I mean, he mostly acted as a DJ, but his songs are very good live. It's club music. So that was great to see.
Don't remember. No idea.
We caught a bit of Bonobo.
Maybe. I don't remember. I think actually my brain just erased this part of the afternoon.
I mean, it was over a year ago as well. It was like a year and a half ago. So
Yeah, not 20 years ago, so I should remember, but I don't.
we saw a lot of acts. So it's especially like you didn't know who these people were, so you weren't really able to prepare for knowing them. They weren't really on my radar that much either until I knew I was going to the festival. I kind of researched them a bit.
I
But
did not.
yeah, it's okay to discover new music. But yeah, so we saw Bonobo. So they make electronic music, kind of ambient, kind of housey music. And so the live rendition of a bonobo set is very interesting because they've got percussion up on stage. They've got these massive drums, and live instrumentation. Seeing them perform their music with live instrumentation was definitely it's interesting because it's not just hearing the studio songs performed with speakers. So yeah, I was definitely intrigued by that. Yeah, just a nice little treat to hold us off until the headliner.
Oh,
who I was especially very excited for, and I
Yeah,
think we were
yeah,
all excited for.
yeah,
This is what made it so that I bought the tickets in the first place.
yeah. Just for him. Only
This
for him.
so this was Donald Glover,
Ooh.
otherwise known as his artist moniker Childish Gambino. He is one of my favorite artists overall. Him and Tyler the Creator are absolute inspirations to me. So for the first time to finally see him live, and at this point in his career when his discography is very rich in diversity and various styles, like he has built up quite a repertoire of material that makes for a fantastic live set.
And he's an amazing performer.
Yeah,
He's
he's
we
very
were like,
charismatic.
I think we were at the other end of the crowd, like really, really far from the stage, but
Could feel the energy from far away.
yeah,
He was also what he was wearing was a an outfit that was very reminiscent of his "This Is America" music video, which was also a highlight of the show. Was his performance of "This Is America" having been his biggest single, but he was wearing these very interesting trousers, and he was shirtless and full beard.
No, he had a shirt to begin with. He had a small, short sleeve shirt
Oh
or
yeah, it was
pant.
like unbuttoned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he took it off later throughout the show.
you really can't say about him that he has an aura. You can see him when he's on stage, when he's performing, even if you're like really far, just like we were. You can't look at anything else but him.
Yeah,
Like a magnet or something. I don't know how to say that.
which there was more than just him on set as well, because there was. I remember there was live instrumentation that might have been more in the background of the
Yeah,
set.
it was a very large stage.
Yeah, but he made the most of it, and he later brought on some backup dancers, I guess. His stage presence was he is a frontman. No, he is a showman.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
in the most
exactly.
literal
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, his dancing is so unique to him, and the faces he makes when he's dancing are very very particular. They're kind of
yeah.
almost disturbing, but it's like
Captivating.
it's captivating.
Yeah,
It grabs your attention. Um, and yeah, he played a great mix of many songs. Um, from Because the Internet and onward, he didn't play older songs. He might have played a verse from Camp or Royalty over one of his Awaken My Love songs, but other than that, it was mainly a lot of hits from Because the Internet. Um, some hits from Awaken My Love, of course, and as well as This Is America, his summertime hack that he had just released at the time. Yeah, it was very recent. Oh yeah, and he also played some songs from his Kawaii EP, such as Sober. It might have just been that he played, but he clearly held London very close to his heart as well, explaining that he had spent quite a lot of time in London. Um, so it made this performance particularly important for him. Just great performance. The entire festival led up to that point, and it was well worth it.
yeah.
It was what we came for, and we left very satisfied.
Like the perfect ending to a festival.
Yeah, yeah, it couldn't have been better.
No,
So
let's see.
yeah, that's one of our favorite performances. We saw him later on the next year as well, but we'll get to that later. So thanks for tuning in on episode 1 of the Good Podcast. We're gonna continue on through our gigs of 2018 on the next episode, and so stay tuned for that. And thanks for listening and watching. And speak to you all soon.